Okay, welcome everyone to this IFoEC Focus series. Today I'm here with Connaire Delaney McNulty, and the purpose is to explore Connaire's experience, background, and current role in esports. So let's crack on. Connaire, who are you and what is your role in esports?
Cool. So yeah, I'm Connaire Delaney McNulty, or Concentric, who by online. Currently, for about the last year, I've been working with Enclave in the UK, in the UKLC, as their performance coach. So supporting their players through all aspects of performance I can help with within that time. And then a little bit before that, I've done some amateur in-game coaching for Overwatch up to about a 4K level. And then separate to my experiences with professional work and esports, I'm also doing the esports MA currently at Staffordshire, finishing that in about 6 weeks' time, hopefully. And then, yeah, just anything else you want to know, feel free.
Excellent. Well, we need to get into all of that, but just before we dig into esports, we've briefly spoken in the past, and you mentioned that you have a pretty impressive career in the realm of real sport, or traditional sport. What's your accomplishment history to date?
Okay, so I've had an interesting career in martial arts, actually. So I did it since I was like 5, started competing when I was 14, and then I ended up by 18 in traditional forms and extreme forms, getting 2 world championships in 2015, multiple European and international titles before then. And then I also, in like 2016, after I'd semi-retired competing, went up for a fight in Scotland and came back with a Scottish title as well, just for the fun of it. So it's been kind of a real fast and furious few years competing in martial arts, hitting some quite high levels. International competition is always an experience, whether it's on English soil or elsewhere. So a lot of everything I do has been grounded in that multiple years training and competing myself, and now what I can use that to help the athletes I work with.
That is, I mean, that's extraordinary. It's not every day you meet someone with so many accolades. You are the real life Lee Sin of
gets thrown around a bit. I like to throw this in there. Have you heard of Viperio in the UK?
Yep.
Chris Sword, their owner, broke my nose in the first competition I ever did.
Are you kidding?
No, completely. We used to compete in the same circuits. He trained up in Gateshead or Newcastle. And hilarious. I actually knew him from years ago before I met him in the esports scene. And he broke my nose in the finals.
What a coincidence! I hope you get him back on the Rift. Is that something I should say here? I don't know.
Maybe.
But no bad blood anymore?
No, not at all. It's quite funny. I won, but he broke my nose. So I don't know. It's a trade-off I took at the time.
Amazing. Well, already this has been supremely interesting. So back on to esports.
Oh yes.
How did you get into your current role?
It's one of those stories of who you know, not what you know. But I made sure I was in the right circles and the right position myself. So it was after my undergrad in sports performance. I was like, I want something to do in esports. So I started looking for amateur coaching opportunities, and just coaching an amateur team called Skylabs at the time for Overwatch. They ended up branching out into league. So they tried to make a league team. And one of the members of that league team was actually one of the managers at Enclave. So we just ended up in a few casual conversations about the stuff I've looked into. He's like, we're looking to expand. We're looking to help what we can do to our players at Enclave. So would you like to see if it's the right fit for you and come over and help us? And that was about a year ago now. And we've just finished up our 3rd split with Enclave. And could have gone a bit better this split, but it's looking good for the future, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Good to hear. Was there a moment when you'd sort of been in esports a while? Was there a moment when you realized this performance coaching thing was something you really wanted to do? Was there like an aha moment?
I think following on from a sports performance degree where I focused on esports for a lot of my 3rd year work, I hadn't really seen this sort of stuff be done in esports until I looked a little bit further into it. Obviously, the likes of Ismail from Rogue come up. And then I think I've had a few conversations with Fabian from Excel. So I think at that point, about 14, 15 months ago, so just the start of summer, when I started realizing there was names out there's people helping the athletes, I was like, this is a possibility for myself. And that was about the same time I was chatting with the guys from Enclave about joining them. So it kind of all worked at the same time, and I probably got really lucky with all how that went.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, certainly your academic pathway to date makes you sort of an excellent candidate for this performance coaching role, I suppose. But also, I know that you've done some writing as part of your degree course on long-term athlete development and things like that. Have you seen sort of much room to apply those things in esports in an applied way?
Not within a lot of the stuff I've done currently this year. So looking into LTAD stuff, it's maybe a little bit for the future, but it's definitely needed to help either support the national team we've got here on a wider scale. But then with Resolve and Guilds getting quite big, they're both trying to foster a really nice academy scene. So we are looking for a way, I think in general in the UK, that supporting athletes from a younger age is always going to help the development, both of the industry and the athletes themselves. So there's hopefully numerous future other opportunities, but we'll just have to see how it develops.
Watch this space for your future work and research. Yeah, excellent. So when you're not getting your nose broken, winning fights and wrestling with uni work, what would a typical day as a performance coach look like for you?
In season, it's a lot of personal and dissertation work throughout the day for uni, but then just joining the guys in scrims, spectating them, and essentially just being on call for them. So I'll be there spectating the scrim, seeing if there's any interpersonal issues which come up, anything which we can try and address from a staff standpoint. But then it's a lot of if they have any personal questions or anything they think could be affecting their own performance, it's just being on hand, being someone they can turn to if they're not certain it's an in-game issue. They need that person, and the managers aren't always the right individuals. And the in-game coach won't be the right individual. So it's being that third person for them. But then it's also a lot of just setting up casual chats, casual meetings, getting to know the guys. The more I understand them, the better I can be in a position to help them. And then we've had one or two big team talks. So everyone sat down on Discord, and they've always been really progressive. And I've got a bit of a history in Enclave now for the mid-season team talk, but they've always been really useful.
Very cool to hear. I love that idea of embedding yourself in the team, observing and sort of responding to needs. I think that's a really important part of it. Could you maybe talk a little bit about your approach? Like, is there if I'm in an environment where you're the performance coach, how do you describe your approach and what you do and your style?
I think mostly laissez-faire in terms of coaching styles, just because a lot of the traditional coaching, either in sports or esports, is authoritarian, and they don't need another one of those. They need someone they can turn to with maybe a little bit more emotion, maybe a little bit more empathic, something a little bit softer. But then in general approach, I like to get a lot of stuff done pre-split. So I think 2 of the 3 splits I've worked with Enclave, gone through cognitive testing with the entire team, and then looking at their lifestyle, their physical exercise habits, and ways we can try and improve those scores. Because little things, making sure they're getting enough exercise, sleep, decent amounts of water, is going to help their in-game performance, and they might not be entirely aware of that.
Absolutely excellent. Yeah, like sort of a holistic performance approach. This is a bit of a tangent, but like, what are the tools that help you do your job? So are you a pen and pencil person, or is there like a software?
Yeah, I was just looking to see if I've got one of my notepads down here, but always notepads, like pen and paper notepads. It just makes it a lot easier having something up on here, the Discord call on one side, and be able to sit back and just observe everything.
Yeah.
And also, honestly, it has a bit of for the team meetings, I think it's a little bit imposing if I'm sat back here with a notepad up, just listening. It makes people take it really seriously and they don't understand why. So I think just little tricks like that helps with the perspective of everything.
Like Freud's couch or something like that. So psychoanalytical.
Let's go a few steps below that. But yeah, same theory, right?
I also note the whiteboard behind you. I'm a big
Hmm.
believer in whiteboards, so it's good to see that's been put to good use.
Yeah, that's been an essential for my masters, really. But
Yeah,
it could definitely be useful for any team stuff moving forwards.
excellent. What do you enjoy most about your role?
Ooh, I think currently it's just the eclectic range of people. Like teams do shift quite quickly at this level, so it's not certain next season we'll have the same 5 players as this season, and each one brings their own either challenges or goals, and just that range is fascinating at times. You wouldn't believe some of the questions I've been asked. I won't share them because it's private, but like I've been asked some very strange things. But it's always really nice to help with those, especially when something just completely catches me off guard. It's like, cool, let's sit down and chat about that and see what we can do.
That's what a wonderful way of putting it. But there's so much character in esports.
Oh yeah, fully.
And it's you see it sort of in the social spaces, but obviously within teams, every team has their own dynamic, and the people on there bring something completely different to that team. But
even the staff to the players, everyone on there plays such a vital role.
Yeah,
making sure that it can function together is essential.
That's excellent to hear. So how about a sort of follow up to that? What has been your proudest moment in esports to date?
Ooh, I think in like amateur esports, there was a time with an Overwatch team I coached. They were missing a main tank, and I was the right rank and right position to play main tank from them. So we went into an amateur tournament and just 10-0'd, won the entire thing, and it was very boring. But it was really nice to give them the platform to do that. It was never my victory or my success. I was just filling in for someone who couldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the semi-pro, so with Enclave, I think the proudest moments is how the management has probably shifted a little bit and changed. So they're thinking about aspects that initially I'd have to remind them about a year ago. And that's everything from like how they've set up their trial process to some of the scheduling decisions they make. And seeing that become a little bit more heterogeneous and normal within the esports space is it's bigger than me, and it's bigger than the stuff I can do on my own. So that's really nice to see.
Influencing up and down there as well. So like working with players, working with coaches, but also having an impact on how the organization runs as a whole. Dare I say, optimizing processes and things like that?
Yeah, possibly. It's every team will do things differently, and I don't think there is a set way to do anything anymore. So it's being able to just take a step back and go, what worked, what didn't work, and what can we replicate in this situation?
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Cool. Final 2 questions. What is your dream future in esports?
Not sure yet. I'll get back to you on that one at some point. I definitely want to stay in the industry. It's very interesting. It's developing very quickly, and there's probably more unknowns than what we know. And so it's going to be great trying to figure some of those out, put some of those into practice. But I think I'd be more than happy just being in a support position and seeing players develop. So there's a player at the moment we've just had on Enclave, and he could be something. I'll give you some of the details privately after this call, but he could be something, and I really want to be able to be that first step or the first support in his career.
Yeah, great to hear. And I think based on what I've heard today, I think your approach would benefit a lot of players individually, but also these are the kind of approaches that I think the industry as a whole should start recognizing. So I personally I hope you have a long career in the game. Final question: what advice would you give to somebody that wants to sort of follow in your footsteps and get into a performance coaching role?
I think the main thing is just put yourself in the right environments. So a lot of us, especially if you're interested in this stuff, you've got a gaming PC, you've got a few screens, you know something about a game. start contacting amateur teams, playing on them, lending some of your time, and just surround yourself in it. And you'll pick things up. The more you know about how a team works at an amateur level, the more experienced you will be if you make it up higher, and you'll be more competent in the talks, the pre-interview talks you need to do to try and get your message out there. So just surround yourself, immerse yourself in the environment. It's going to take a little bit of time and volunteering at amateur levels just to get there, but that's almost essential, and it's a great learning process. And then when you feel comfortable in yourself, get in touch with the UK EL teams, get in touch with the R6 teams, because a lot of them don't have someone in that position. So if you're willing to give your time for free, as long as it is still healthy for the players, something is better than nothing. And it will do you wonders getting that experience.
Excellent. Great advice. Yeah. All right. That was a whistle-stop tour of Connaire's approach to esports and your role and experiences.
Thank you.
Where can people find you if they want to follow up or follow your progress?
I've got a Twitter. It's pretty inactive, but it's Coach Concentric. Apart from that, I use the LinkedIn and stuff like that. So I'm certain my name will be on the bottom of here. It's tricky to spell.
Yeah,
but yeah, feel free to get in contact. Any of those, I might try and get more active on my Twitter at some point. But
excellent.
Thank you yourself,
with the help of the masses, we'll get your Twitter active again. Excellent. Well, thanks for your time.
No, thank you as well, Matthew.